Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we will have our discussion on a topic which all the time intrigues astrologer. This is kind of a nemesis for majority of the astrologers when it comes down to predicting the outcome of either your 8th house or the Rahu. So guys, definitely in this video, we will try to get deeper into that when it comes down to decoding a planet, specifically a planet like Rahu, where unpredictability, uncertainty is always attached. Rahu is like a planet which in one strike can actually change the course of your life, change the course of your destiny. So because of which, how and in which capacity and with which intent Rahu is going to be giving results, that becomes very important. And in this video, we will try to get into the deeper layers of that. Because guys, the simple formula or fundamental principle which I follow in astrology is that planet represents energy. Zodiac sign represents in which capacity that energy will be manifested. House represents where it will be manifested. But when we talk about the soul lessons, when we talk about the true intent, nakshatra comes into picture over there. So guys, today at the time when I'm recording this video, it's the time of the new moon, and that too in my chart taking place in the 9th house. So definitely I was in this kind of a mood of contemplation that I actually was very much inclined towards figuring it out. So as you know that it's a learning platform where we all learn from each other. So I will be giving you my insight into that in whichever nakshatra Rahu is going to be placed. Like definitely in this one video we cannot summarize all the 27 nakshatras, but we will try to classify it on the basis of planets, like Rahu being in the Sun nakshatra, Rahu being in the Moon nakshatra, Rahu being in the Jupiter nakshatra. In this way, we will try to figure out that what could be the true intent of Rahu to manifest results. So yes guys, before we will get into that, let's just try to briefly understand that why Rahu tend to remain a nemesis for everyone. Because guys, first of all, when it comes down to Rahu, there is no hard and fast rule. Like the way we say this thing, that it hardly matters in which capacity Jupiter is placed in your natal chart. The innate nature of Jupiter is to give benevolence, to give benefic results. If Jupiter is going to be afflicted, the intensity of those benefic qualities will be reduced, but Jupiter will not start acting like in a demonic way. But when it comes down to Rahu has got a capacity to go anyway in strong intensity. Like, because if you know the mathological connection of Rahu, so like Rahu was a demon, Swarabhanu, and just because he had the Amrit, immortal elixir of the life, so because of which he has got the tendency of manifesting both the demonic and the godly qualities. And just because even if you will go by the astronomy point of view as well, so Rahu and Ketu are considered as an imaginary point, so they do not have any physical existence. Now where the mystery part comes from that all those people who are in the influence of Rahu, definitely Rahu represents the kind of thoughts which come to your mind. See, when it comes down to Rahu and Ketu can actually make someone a dreaded criminal. Ketu can actually completely give you soul level awareness. But when it comes down to impact on your personality, impact on your thought process, impact on your character, Rahu plays a very strong role over there. And why Rahu is a mystery? Because even if I were to share the problems created by Rahu, like you will be sick and tired of getting one test done after another, but your problem or your disease will not get diagnosed. Without any reason, swelling in the body is connected with Rahu, and all those kind of activities where people suddenly got a lottery win, suddenly got some idea which got into some multi-million venture, all of those are the attributes of Rahu, because of which decoding Rahu's true intent becomes very important. And definitely guys, for all those people who are for long have been connected with me on this channel, so a lot many times I have even ascribed the remedies of Rahu as well, like keeping a peacock feather in your home could be one of the remedy. Rahu impacts your mind first, so the calm state of mind becomes very important. So putting the small silver balls or piece of silver in your wallet, which has to be in your body all the time, can be considered. Along with that, in your house as well, your toilets have to be always clean. The area under the ladder has staircase has to be all the time clean. So these are the some of the traits by which you can understand Rahu. But guys, in today's day and age, all those people and all those fields where there is the capacity to attain magnanimous fame, success in a very short span of time somehow comes under the control of Rahu. And that is the only reason why we say this thing. In order for someone to become a successful politician, Rahu needs to be supporting in that chart, because Saturn can actually make you a social worker. Saturn can actually give you the mass support, but in order to maintain that position, in order to make use of that like a diplomacy, Rahu also needs to be in a strengthened state. So yes guys, these are some of the qualities and the attributes, characteristics which are generally attached with the Rahu. With Rahu, we always say this thing, that in life you should always have a plan B ready, because a lot many times where Rahu might be taking you, in whichever domain you are going to be obsessed with, your true destiny might lie somewhere else. So that is the only reason a well supported Rahu, well expected Rahu will straight away connect you with your destiny, will make you obsessed, very strong willed and determined, capacity to destroy your enemies. But if Rahu is just creating illusion and making your personality delusional, so there always have to be a plan B ready with you. So yes guys, this is a little bit about the planet Rahu. Now let's get into the intent and the intention part of the Rahu. Let's try to decode it. So now let's say, for example, if your Rahu is placed in any of the sun nakshatra, like this could be Kritika, Uttara Falguni or Uttara Ashadha. So guys, whenever Rahu is placed in the any of the sun nakshatra, it has been generally seen that there will definitely be a innate dislike for the authority, for the status quo, and these are among those people who will try their level best in order to uproot any of the existing authority, or they will always have this innate capacity to rebel against the norms. Now again guys, it all comes down to in which capacity, in which house Rahu is placed. What is the condition of the sign rod, because we all know this thing that the domain of the sun nakshatra is being shared between two zodiac signs as well. So it all comes down to that in which capacity Rahu is placed. I mean to say the sign lord, in which capacity it is placed. Is Rahu being expected, well supported by its good friends? Like this could be Mercury, this could be Venus, this could be Saturn. Then this could actually put someone into sensationalized journalism. This could actually make someone a crusader. So a lot many doors can open for you. But definitely if your Rahu is placed in the sun nakshatra, so it can actually make someone little bit adamant as well. This can definitely make someone a rebel as well. But when it comes down to having a unique identity of yourself, Rahu being placed in the solar nakshatra is considered as very good. Because guys, like the way I always say this thing, if you have to do something very original, unique in your life, if you have to be a first comer in your line of work, your fifth house, your sun and Rahu are the some of the attributes which can make you that. So that is the only reason I mentioned this thing, that if your Rahu is placed in any of the sun nakshatra, and again guys, like the way I mentioned this thing, people who are strongly in the influence of Rahu, so a lot many times some of sort of self-destructive, rebellious thoughts, revengeful thoughts will always, like, you might be overwhelmed strongly with these kind of thoughts. Now whether you act on that or not, whether you get an opportunity to act on that or not, that is a different case. Rahu has to be active in the dasha, or so in whichever way, if it is active, it will make you overwhelmed via these kind of thoughts. And just because your Rahu is placed in the sun nakshatra, so thoughts might be to rebel somehow. So these are some of the attributes with which we can attach Rahu being placed in the sun nakshatra. Now guys, over here you have to work with me, because it is a research platform. We all are learning from each other. So if your Rahu is placed in the sun nakshatra, how it has worked for you, in which profession field you are working, you have to write it in the comment section. Now guys, let's move forward. Now let's say, for example, if your Rahu is placed in the moon nakshatra. Now definitely moon nakshatra is Rohini, Hasta and the Shravan. So now guys, the good part about this nakshatra is that definitely this is a kind of a nakshatra which completely comes in the domain of the zodiac sign. So that means that if your Rahu is placed over here and the sign lord is well placed, like this could be Venus, this could be Mercury or Saturn, they are well placed, that is going to be one affirmation. But guys, over here definitely Rahu is going to have a strong impact on someone's psychological state. It means that repetitive thought is something with which you have to deal with. Now guys, over here as well, I was listening to this enlightened, elevated preacher who mentioned very good thing, that someone asked him that I have the problem of OCD, I get obsessed with things, I find it very difficult to get rid of any of the overpowering thought, it just gets attached to me. The person might be the typical Scorpio or the Rahu person, to which the preacher replied in a very good way, that he said that it's a blessing. All what you have to do is that repetitive thought, you have the eligibility, you are a ready material to have this potential and capacity. All what you have to do is that replace that repetitive thought with the name of the god, and definitely your life will start ascending. So yes guys, when it comes down to your Rahu being placed in the moon nakshatra, now over here I'm not trying to taper it down or classify it into different categories, that how it is going to be with Rohini, because Rohini is altogether different nakshatra compared to Hasta. Hasta makes you very skilled, Rohini is all about beauty, aesthetics, and Shravan is all about travels, your work related obsession. But the concern over here is that if your Rahu is placed in the moon, so your psychological state needs to be monitored. You might be overwhelmed with good thoughts or repetitive thoughts. All what you have to do is that you have to learn to taper it down to something which is very constructive, which is very productive, which is going to serve some purpose to you. So yes guys, and I generally, this is what I always recommend people who are strongly in the influence of Rahu, that maintaining cleanliness in your house becomes very important, having a sound sleep becomes very important, having a connection with nature is very important, having some creative outflow is very important. So yes, this is what I can say, that the intent part, if we have to see, so if your Rahu is placed in any of the moon nakshatra, so it might have something to do with exploration, being receptive towards energies. And again guys, whenever your Rahu is placed in any of the moon nakshatra, so your surrounding environment becomes very important, because somehow you becomes very strongly impressionable and receptive to the environment where you are placed in. So now guys, what you have to do is that after this, if your Rahu is placed in any of the moon nakshatra, you have to write it in the comment section about your thought process, about the field or the profession where you are working, and are you a very repetitive thought, OCD kind of person, or you find it very easy to get rid of any overwhelming single thought. Here I'm not talking about multiple things. Rahu quality is about getting struck with one thought, with something which is very unique. So you have to answer me in the comment section. Now guys, when we talk about your Rahu being placed in the Mars nakshatra, so definitely guys, because Mars has got a rulership over Mrigashira, Chitra, Dhanishta, but in lot many cases it has been seen that the Rahu being in any of the Mars nakshatra tend to become very competitive. Now over here it hardly matters, because here we are talking about the intent. Our main objective is to decipher this puzzle about in which capacity and with which intent Rahu function. So whenever your Rahu is placed in any of the Mars nakshatra, generally it makes someone like very strongly competitive. And depending on the overall placement of the planets in the chart, native might be even ready to resort to, this could be making use of force, making use of diplomacy, making use of muscle, making use of any of the aggression as well in order to get things done. And definitely guys, because when it comes down to Mars, Mars also has something to do with the mechanical skills, with the problem solving skills as well, and it is a kind of a energy where native tend to remain strong willed for the things which needs to be done. Native could be a leader as well. So guys, in this situation becomes very important that what exactly is the overall theme of the chart, overall look and feel of the chart. So let's say for example your Rahu is placed in the Mars nakshatra, your ascendant is also of Scorpio or Aries or Capricorn, or your ascendant lord is placed in the 12th house, 6th house, 8th house, then definitely secrecy, jealousy, competition, aggression will definitely take a toll. But guys, the good part over here is that when it comes down to doing something where you have to prove your prowess, something to do with the logical, mechanical skills, and making use of the brotherhood, making use of the support of the people around you to get your things done, this could be a good placement for that. So guys, you have to write it in the comment section that if your Rahu is placed in the Mars nakshatra, Mrigashira, Chitra, Dhanishta, which field or profession you are working, and what sort of thoughts generally overwhelm you. Now guys, moving ahead, now let's say for example your Rahu is placed in the Mercury nakshatra. So guys, Mercury has got a rulership over Ashlesha, Jyeshtha and Revati. So Rahu being placed in these nakshatra. Now guys, do not get into this part that because Rahu is going to be placed in the Mercury nakshatra, so it is placed in the water signs where it do not function properly. Over here we are talking about the intent. Even if Rahu is placed in the, for example, in the Cancer, and it is being well aspected by Saturn, Mercury, Venus, and Moon is well placed, it is exalted, this can also make a very good Raj Yoga as well. You have a Cancer Lagna, Rahu being in the first house, and Moon is exalted in the 11th house, then definitely makes a Raj Yoga. But main concern over here is that if your Rahu is placed in the Mercury nakshatra, this could be a very good indication. Definitely guys, when we talk about all the entrepreneurs, all those people who are self-made millionaires, and definitely people who are like their mind is not overwhelmed with the vicissitudes of daily life. Their mind is not overwhelmed with jealousy or with all these low human vices. Their mind is always filled with next business opportunity, next commercial opportunity. How can I scale up myself in my business? How can I learn some new skill? How can I make myself more sellable in the job market? So your Rahu being placed in any of the Mercury nakshatra could be very good supportive indication for that. So guys, you have to write it in the comment section that if your Rahu is placed in any of these nakshatra, what sort of thought process comes to you? What exactly is your conduct in the society, in the community, which field you are in? So all of that you have to share it in the comment section. Now guys, let's say for example if your Rahu is placed in the Jupiter nakshatra. So we all know this thing that Jupiter has got a rulership over Punarvasu, over Vishakha and the Purvabhadrapada. But guys, when we talk about the territory of the Jupiter nakshatra, they get shared into zodiac sign. But the good part is that the innate qualities tend to remain of the most benefic planet Jupiter only. So guys, generally what I have seen is that when Rahu is placed in the Jupiterian nakshatra, in lot many cases, like when we talk about all these modern day and age trainers, teachers, online guru, they generally tend to be functioning very well with their Rahu placed in the Jupiterian nakshatra. And second thing is that whenever your Rahu is placed in the Jupiterian nakshatra, capacity to bounce back. Because guys, when it comes down to the people who are prominently ruled by Rahu, their life do not follow a linear path. Their life keeps on going through lot many bumpy rides where suddenly you are getting the recognition, and there are those days where without doing anything people are blaming you. So the point which I'm saying over here is that capacity to bounce back from any of the failures, capacity to inspire, motivate people, and making right use of technology to learn, to become wise, to grow, to inspire, to spread something, generally tend to remain very strong if your Rahu is placed in any of the Jupiterian nakshatra. And like the way guys, I mentioned this thing, Rahu is all about the kind of thoughts which comes to your mind. Mercury is your mind. What kind of thoughts come over there is Rahu. So Rahu being placed in the Jupiterian nakshatra is not that vulnerable sign. And let's say for example, if you are in investment management, finance, wealth management, any of the teaching, training, if you are in all these kind of professions and occupation, so write it in the comment section. Just share your life about how and what kind of thoughts come to you, and specifically which field you belong to. Now guys, moving ahead, now let's say for example, if your Rahu is placed in any of the Venus in nakshatra. Now Venus has got a rulership over Bharani, Purva Falguni and Purvashadha nakshatra. So guys, definitely Venus in nakshatra has got all to do with having a luxurious and enjoyable life. So this is a good indication in this way that the energies of Rahu will be very much inclined towards improving your standard of living, how to maintain the status quo, how to make everyone happy, how to make use of your diplomacy in order to progress in the life. Trust me guys, this is a kind of a typical alignment where it has been found lot many of the millionaires with this kind of alignment, like Rahu being placed in the Venus and nakshatra. Because like the way I mentioned this thing, if Rahu represents the kind of thoughts which overwhelms you, so if it is being packed by the Venusian flavors and the energy, definitely it is a win-win sign in today's modern day age, modern day society. So let's say for example, if with this kind of alignment you are in any of the hospitality, hotel business or high-end luxury business, art, entertainment, direction, production, if you're in any capacity working in all these fields, Rahu being placed in the Venusian nakshatra is a very supportive sign for you. Now write it in the comment section how it has worked out for you so far. Now guys, when we talk about Rahu being placed in the Saturnian nakshatra, which are like Pushya nakshatra, Anuradha nakshatra and the Uttar Bhadrapada nakshatra. So definitely guys, now when Rahu is placed in the Saturnian nakshatra, now guys, now we have almost reached to the end of this discussion. In a way, just 3 planets are left, and Rahu being in the Saturnian nakshatra, in its own nakshatra, and in the Ketu nakshatra, somehow the karmic energy and the karmic grip somehow entangles you in this way that if this is taking place in your, for example, in the Dushtana Bhava, or moon is also afflicted, or ascendant lord is placed in the 8th house, 12th house, then this is the kind of a typical alignment where something to do with the deeds done by you in the past or done by your ancestor will definitely entangle you or trap you. So, and again guys, with this and I always say this thing, that when we talk about the karmic chart or karmic entanglement, it does not always have to be bringing suffering or kind of poetic justice or judgment for you. In lot many ways, if you have been born in a very good lineage and your actions have been so far immaculate, Jupiter is in a very strengthened state, this is the kind of alignment where in the fields of technology, innovation, you will do very good. This is a kind of alignment where whatsoever you are meant to do, you will not kind of lose your path. Whatsoever is cut out for you, your destiny and your steps will keep on taking you at the right time, at the right places, and will keep on coming in front of right opportunities, right sort of people in your life. Because guys, Saturn has everything to do with your actions and with the justice. Actions, your karma, your justice. So that is the way and reason I'm saying this thing, that Rahu's placement in the Saturn sign has got a very it's like a double-edged sword, because Rahu's innate nature is of illusion and Saturn's innate nature is of sadness and depression. So again, now that is a different case, that Pushya is considered as one of the best nakshatra, Anuradha is considered as one of the best nakshatra of devotion, and Uttar Bhadrapada of the spirituality. So it all comes down to in which side of the scale you are falling. Are you falling in the illusionary depressive side, or you are falling in the progressive and very dutiful side? So yes guys, that is something which you have to write it in the comment section, that if a Rahu is placed in the Saturnian nakshatra, what kind of thought overwhelms you, which field you are professionally operating on. Now guys, if your Rahu is placed in the in its own nakshatra, now guys, definitely it is a very good indication. Now what will happen with this kind of alignment is that Rahu will have a free grip to work in its purest essence. So all the Rahu qualities, this could be a dreamer, very ambitious, very good with the mass trends, very good with the technology, and a highly ambitious person who want to do something big in the life, who want to have a unique identity in the life. Because guys, when it comes down to Rahu, there is not just a one line prediction or one sort of personality cut out for someone. Like definitely Rahu is going to be strong. So if it is going to be blessing you with its positive qualities of ambitious and doing something unique and innovative, it will also have an impact on your character, on your personality as well. And we all know this thing, that the questionable company, questionable eating habits, drinking, all of that, smoking and all, is also attached with Rahu as well. So it all comes down to that, in which side of the scale you're falling in. But the good part is that Rahu will function in its purest essence. If your Rahu is placed in the Adra, you can do something very good in the all those people who are in the business of casino, stock market, disinfectant, or scrap business. If your Rahu is in the Swati, in the hotel, in the hospitality, in the luxury business, if it is in the Sadbisha, something to do with the medicine, something to do with the healing, you can be very good in all these fields. So if your Rahu is placed in its own nakshatra, let me know in the comment section what kind of thoughts generally overruns you about your personality, about the field in which you are working. And last, if your Rahu is placed in any of the Ketu nakshatra, Ashwini, Magha, Mula. So again guys, this is a kind of a alignment where the karmic grip tend to remain very strong in your personality. Like you will not even realize that suddenly some thought has been instilled in your mind and you're not able to get rid of that. And this can work out in so many ways. Like a lot many times it has been seen where people tend to have spiritual awakening, some sort of epiphanies. You were supposed to do something very good in the fields of organic farming, but you are doing something else in the life. You were supposed to do something good in the creative arts and you were doing something else. So your calling, your awakening and reconnecting with your destiny will happen in a very sudden way. So this is how Rahu being in the Ketu nakshatra function. But the good part is that what to an unawakened mind will look like that this guy is very delusional, this guy is very confused all the time. But trust me, your life and your thought process will be operating in perfectly in sync with your destiny carved out for you. So yes guys, Rahu being in the Ketu nakshatra, definitely all those people who tend to remain very unusual with their thought process and very innovative, kind of an eccentric genius, is something which your personality is going to be if your Rahu is going to be placed in the Ketu nakshatra. And something to do with all those people who are Reiki healing, who do tarot reading, all these kind of past life regression therapy and all the telepathy, all these things, you can be very good in all these sciences as well. So write it in the comment section. If your Rahu is placed in any of the Ketu nakshatra, what kind of thoughts comes to you, which defines your personality and in which field you are working. So yes guys, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow my Instagram account. Dhanyawad.